If it is Monday night, it is the Wrestling Forum. So hello, friends. It is ridiculously over Anthony Floyd once again, sitting in tonight for the Hardcore Pipe on Derek Ferreira as he fulfills his social media ambassador duties for Monday Night Football. And yeah, once again, I'm running the show. This will be the last week for a couple more weeks because Derek Ferreira will be back at the controls of this show next week and the week after because you know his decree. He's going to be joining us for go home shows and the night after. That's how he does it. So after the night, the next time I'll be running the show will be on Monday night, November the 3rd. So that's all there is to say about that. So with that said, I am joined, as always, by my esteemed colleagues, the Cerebral Viper, Michael Fletcher, along with the Phenom, Michael Bullock. Great to have you back, Mr. Bullock. Missed you the other night, but that's okay. I mean, that's all there is to say about that. A lot to get into, and all I can say is a pleasant surprise when it comes to this edition of Monday Night Raw tonight. I mean, honestly, going into it, I didn't really have that much of high hopes. I mean, especially after what we had last week, when The Rock came, when we had that surprise appearance by the Brahma Bull himself, The Rock, which literally saved the show from major obscurity. But tonight, oh no, no obscurity tonight, folks. And I don't even think we're going to have that many on the rant side tonight, if I'm being quite honest. And I don't know about the memes. We'll see how that goes. I mean, could there be memes? You never know. We could, but but what's Wrestling Forum without it? So, all right. So let's get into this. Monday Night Raw was live tonight from the Phillips Arena in Atlanta, Georgia. Of course, that's the ATL. Michael Fletcher, one of his homes away from home, and we'll get into that later on because we had a nice little moment there during the show. So with that said, guys, let's dive right into it. And oh, by the way, there's going to be none of that. There's not going to be any, preferential treatment here. We're going by the old book here. We're going back to normal as to how we're going to lead it off. So that's all there is to say about that. So I'm going to start it off here. So, with that said, first things first, let's get into it. We had an in-ring segment. It was the Lunatic Fringe, Dean Ambrose, interrupted by John Cena, and then interrupted by, surprise, surprise, the Authority, Triple H, and Stephanie McMahon. And then, they do what they always do, lay out the groundwork and everything else, and then it would lead into a match, which we'll get into in just a moment. So, yeah. As far as the in-ring segment goes, I thought this was very well done. I mean, I'm loving the Dean Ambrose character, really am. I mean, but then again, I've always been a Dean Ambrose guy ever since he debuted as part of the Shield. I mean, it's not just because of his great wrestling ability; it's also because of his, the, his facial expressions and everything else. And I'm just loving the scowl in the voice there. I'm just loving it. I mean, those dirt sheets were right. The dirt sheets said that he was going to be the second coming of Stone Cold Steve Austin, and right now I'm starting to believe it. I mean, only without the profanity. That's all there is to say about it. So, and then John Cena coming in, and they tease the tension one more time, saying, "I want Seth Rollins, I want Seth Rollins," and then we get into all this stuff about how bad they want it more, about how they'll definitely go at each other and everything else, and there's Triple H and Steph. They come out to make the announcement that tonight that John Cena and Dean Ambrose were going to be in a tag team match. I'm like, oh dear God, don't even tell me it's going to be the Authority and all this nonsense again. Really, really, I really honestly thought it was going to be some Randy Orton, Kane, Seth Rollins combination again. But thankfully that was not the case. It was a triple threat tag team match, which featured Cena and Ambrose versus tag team champions, the Dust Brothers and the Usos, and we're going to get into that in just a moment. So yeah, very good opening segment here. I mean, Ambrose and Cena worked really well here. I mean, I love the tension between them both. I love the intensity on both men and the serious nature. I mean, they both came out great, but if I'm going to be honest with you, I thought Ambrose came out a little bit better, to be honest. And then Triple H and Steph doing what they always do, laying out the groundwork, blah blah. So Yeah, I can agree with that. Nowhere near Austin Lee. Maybe the modern day CM Punk. You never know. You never know. So they need some. Well, they're going to need somebody to fill that void now that that particular individual is no longer there. Although you never know. Never say never. Things could things could change. You never know. We could see that guy again. You never know. But I really doubt it. But anyways, very good opening segment. That's all there is to say about it. So Cena and Ambrose were great, but Ambrose I thought was better. So that's all I can say about it. Definitely a segment of the night for sure. Great way to start off what ended up being a very one of the better Raws we've seen in, like I always say, forever and a day. So with that said, Michael Bullock, let's get your thoughts on this opening segment.
All right, thank you very much. Ridiculously over Anthony Florio and the president of the Rhode Island chapter of the Yes Movement. Yes, this is the Phenom and the vice president of the Rhode Island chapter of the Yes Movement, Mike Bullock, here for another night of the Wrestling Forum. Delighted to be here as always on this Monday night. Yeah, and I do agree. I mean, I thought this was a really good segment. I mean, you said Dean Ambrose basically coming out first and was saying, I, I want I want Seth Rollins. I want to beat John Cena, and I want to get Seth Rollins inside that demonic structure, known still, basically as Hell in a Cell. And then Cena basically comes out like, you know what, I want him. And then all of a sudden you get Triple H coming out saying, you know what, why don't you guys calm down? And you know what, let's put them in tag team action tonight. And as soon as I heard that, I'm like, oh no, don't tell me it's going to be another one of those authority type matches where you got Cena and Ambrose against, whether it's like Orton and Kane, or Rollins and Kane, or Rollins and Orton, or maybe all three of them with another handicap match. But no, they did something a little different. Yeah, and basically he said it's going to be Cena and Ambrose versus the Dust Brothers versus the Usos. So yeah, I mean, I think that's a little refreshing for me when it comes to this. And of course, Stephanie and Triple H were all saying, they were all making a bet where, like, you know what, I'll bet you that John Cena and Dean Ambrose will not get along. So yeah, so all in all, I thought it was a good segment to start off this edition of Monday Night Raw. So with that being said, let's move on to you, Fletch.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Mike Fletcher. And, I agree with the fellas. I think this was a very solid start to Monday Night Raw. I definitely enjoyed it. Um, I, I do want to say this. Everybody knows that Dean Ambrose is money on the mic. Everybody was starting to compare him to Stone Cold Steve Austin and everything else. The thing is, it's way too soon to start comparing him to Austin. Now, Austin had a charisma. Austin had this level that made him so unique and made him so unbelievably good. Now, Dean Ambrose has the feistiness and the attitude of an Austin. I'll give you that. But he really is more of a rebel than anything else. He reminds me more of, he is practically the CM Punk 2.0. Let's just say that. He is like CM Punk right now. If Punk was here, Ambrose and Punk would be a marriage made in heaven. Let's just say that. The guys cut mean promos. They back it up in the ring. I think CM Punk would not be as out there or as chaotic as Dean Ambrose, because let me tell you, when the lunatic fringe gets all lunatic, he goes nuts. So you're gonna have to get, just like I think back when Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby the Heenan was talking about Psycho Sid from WrestleMania 8, you need to get straight. This guy is straight jacket material. I hope you get the men and the nets to get this boy, because once he gets going, oh Lord, does he get going. But once again, John Cena, sometimes we rip Cena for his cookie cutter promos. Sometimes we praise him for, when he gets all serious and all, legit and the whole 9 yards. Tonight, I think he did a good job. He made emphasis about why he wanted Seth Rollins, which I believe it would have been the wrong decision. Me personally, because out of the two guys who I think should have deserved the shot and gets the shot, it's Dean Ambrose. Don't get me wrong. I know Cena's got this big gripe about, Seth Rollins cost me the chance to be a 16-time world champion and this and that. Legitimate argument. I'm not bashing the Cena fans because I'm a Cena. I like Cena. I respect the body of work. I'm not the biggest Cena hater, unlike maybe Derek Ferrera. And, Ferrera is probably one of the biggest ones of them all, and I don't mind saying that because he has said it to us privately. Florio, I know he respects Cena. I know he loves the body of work. Michael Bullock, he's nodding his head, so I know he respects Cena. He loves his body of work. He's not. He won't be one of those that would say Cena sucks. Let's just say that. For me, I'm basically. I got my moments where I like Cena, and I got my moments where I'm like, ugh, give me a break. But it's probably more good than bad. But Dean Ambrose, he kind of grew on me. Ambrose did, because I'm more of a Roman Reigns guy. Let's just say that when the Shield was created, I was more of a Roman Reigns guy. Anthony was definitely all Dean Ambrose. He was talking nonstop about this guy, and I was like, you know what? That's fine. He's your guy. I got Roman Reigns. I'm definitely more into him. He's got more of my style of the attitude. So I mean, it was awesome. I liked it. Then the Authority shows up. Triple H and Stephanie. Now we get the thing about, it's gonna be, these guys want to get it so bad, so you know what? Let's team them up together. Let's give them a tag team fight. And this time they throw on the Dust Brothers and the Usos. I was like, whoa, interesting. Definitely a curveball in itself. Nice twist. And then the bet. Stephanie believes that Ambrose and Cena are gonna get along. Triple H is like, you know what? Hell no. These guys can't trust each other. These guys can't get along. I think these two guys are going to tear each other limb from limb before this fight is all said and done. Okay. Are we going to do the normal wager? Normal wager. They shook hands on it. It was on. But before I can give you my thoughts about the fight, we gotta give it right back to Anthony Florio to set that baby up. So, kid, it's yours.
Oh, Michael Fletcher and his play on words. You know how much I love those. Oh, man. That's all I can say about that. I mean, anytime you bring up Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan, oh, yeah, you're bringing back some great memories, my man. That's all there is.
I had to do it.
And I'm real pleased you did. So
it certainly
that's all I
brings
can
back
say.
memories for me as well.
Absolutely. So with that said, let's move on. Let's get right into it. The triple threat tag team match. It was. Bear with me for one moment. These video pop-ups keep coming in. It was the triple threat tag team title match. Well, not tag team title match, because the titles were not on the line. It was John Cena and Dean Ambrose versus the Usos versus the Dust Brothers. Winners of the match in 14 minutes and 30 seconds. Surprise, surprise, John Cena and Dean Ambrose. Didn't see that one coming. Oh, yeah, I did. So with that said, Michael Bullock, your thoughts on this triple threat tag match?
All right. I mean, I thought it was a really good triple threat tag team match. I mean, I'm gonna give this a solid 2.5 stars because I thought it was really good for what it was worth. I mean, yeah, it was a surprise outcome. I mean, I never would have thought Dean Ambrose and John Cena would come out the victors in this match. I mean, because we were all thinking, yeah, they're gonna be at each other's throats throughout the time, but yeah, I mean, they really took it to both the Usos and of course the Dust Brothers, yeah, so I thought it was a good match here. 2.5 stars is my rating for it. So with that being said, let's move on to Fletch.
I'm gonna amend it a little bit. I think this was about 2.5 to 2 3/4 of a star. I think you're on the right premise, Michael Bullock, but I thought this was a far better fight than I think we're letting it on to be. I thought this was solid. I loved the outcome of this fight, but there was one thing that was very telling. They were working as a team. Cena and Ambrose were working together. Now, were there moments where they couldn't trust each other? Absolutely. But probably the best spot of the fight was basically, well, I'll just steal a line from Anthony Florio. Club sandwich, hold the mayo. They all went down on that one, and he didn't get to say that once. He got to say it twice. The reason being, number one, the Usos, they basically want to go flying Uso. They jump out of the ring and they basically take out the Dust Brothers. Next thing you know, John Cena jumps up. Huh? What? Cena up on top? What the hell you doing there, Cena? You're not a high flyer. So he flies and he takes out everybody included. Well, Dean Ambrose didn't like that. He's like, shit, I gotta do this too. So he jumps up on the top rope and he flies like a lunatic. Everybody goes down. The whole chaos scene was awesome. I loved it. But the more important thing, Cena and Ambrose got the win. They get the 1, 2, 3, and then the Authority shows up again. Triple H and Stephanie, and yes, it was time for the pay up. It was $1. That's right, folks. Hopefully I got $1 here to show. Nah, unfortunately I don't. I got $5. I got $5.20. So I can't pull out the money, but it was $1. Which pretty much was the bet, and that pretty much was the reason for the whole 9 yards. But Triple H was pissed. He lost the bet. You lost to your wife, Trips. What you going to do about that? Well, he did something about it. He threw us a mother of a main event. That's right, folks. Later on in the night, let's just say Hell in a Cell came early for us. They gave us an early Christmas gift. Well, for all you great Canadians out there, you know what? Today was Thanksgiving up in the brothers up north, or the great White North up there. So happy Thanksgiving to you you great fans up there in Canada. So you got yourself a Thanksgiving gift. You know what you could be wishful. What are you going to be thankful for? Oh, I don't know. Why not? Let's do John Cena versus Dean Ambrose. Contract on a pole fight. Winner gets Seth Rollins at Hell in a Cell. Woo! You definitely perked my ears, and you had my eyes glued to the TV at that point. You definitely won me over. And let me tell you, there were some people, and I'll tell you one thing. A lot of people, that definitely will get the butts in the seats and the eyes to the TV. They ain't going to no toilet seats. They ain't going to bed. They want to be there later on tonight to see these two knuckleheads getting on. And boy, did they get it on.
Wrestling Forum, be a man fight.
Oh, this was more than just a be a man fight, Michael Bullock. This was more than a be a man fight. Forget that.
It was a Donnybrook.
It was more than just a Donnybrook either. This was two guys who don't like each other about to rip their bleeping heads off for the right so that they could get their greasy hands on that, well, let's just call him that turncoat, Seth Rollins. But we'll leave that for later in the night. Florio, it's yours.
Oh my goodness, Michael Fletch is on fire tonight. That's all I'm saying right now. I mean, my goodness. I mean,
What
not in
is
a
on a
cerebral,
roll, man?
not in a cerebral Viper way, but let's just say, I mean, wow, unbelievable. But loving the energy tonight, Fletch. I mean, it comes at a time when I could really use some myself. But anyways, yeah, I mean, but I'm going to be honest with you. I think you're both wrong on this. I'm actually gonna rate it a little bit better because I thought it was better than you guys thought. I'm gonna give this between 3 to 3.25 stars, to be quite honest with you, and I'm gonna call this maybe second best fight of the night, maybe. I mean, because there was one match I thought was better, and I'm sure you guys will agree with me on that when we get there. But for right now, I mean, this was a very good match. I mean, you know, those aerial spots. I mean, yeah, you know, with the Usos, you knew that was coming. But then what we didn't expect to see was both John Cena and Dean Ambrose. I mean, if Fletch and I were doing the commentary, you know what would have happened. You know what I would have said. Club sandwich, hold the mayo. They all went down on that one. And then you would have said, oh, you got that right, kid. You got that right. Yeah, like the old Gorilla Monsoon. Like that little bit that we've always done, with the commentary and whatnot. But, oh, boy. But yeah, I mean, some great action, some great near falls. I mean, the action was very hot and heavy. I mean, never lost interest. I mean, as long as you have the fans out of their seats and not sitting on their hands, that's always a good thing. I mean, that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. A very good thing. So, yeah, great way to start off the show here. I mean, all these weeks, these shows have sucked ass, but this one here, definitely a lot better than, what we've seen over the last several weeks. So, yes, great match here. 3 of 3.25 stars, second best fight of the night, to be quite honest. So, there's really nothing left for me to say here, except let's just move on to our next matchup. And it was, well, fellas, are you ready for some hot Divas tag team action? We had, this is the first of, this is, of course, the first of 2 Divas fights. This was not the Total Divas Showcase. That's later on. We'll get into that later. But this is the main Diva stuff now. We had Paige and Alicia Fox teaming up to take on Divas champion AJ Lee and her new mystery partner this week. Last week we know it was Emma. This time around, Michael Fletcher. Well, this time around, Michael Fletcher is going to be a very happy man because who was AJ Lee's partner this time around? His all-time favorite diva, the beautiful Brit from Miami, Florida, Layla. Yeah. Winners of the match in 1 minute and 45 seconds. It was AJ Lee and Layla. So with that said, I think it's only fitting we started off with Layla's, one of Layla's biggest fans. Of course, if not the biggest, Mr. Michael Fletcher. So Fletcher, your thoughts on this hot Divas tag team match?
It wasn't as hot as the Diva action that we thought it was going to be. I mean, I could give this an NA in my book. I mean, it was good. It was there. Nothing amazing. Layla tried to go heel. She tried to leave AJ Lee behind. However, AJ does indeed get the win. And then after that, she goes off on the beautiful Brit from Miami, and boy, it was not a pretty beatdown. I mean, you want to talk about bowling shoe ugly, you don't piss off a crazy woman. Now, I did crazy chicks. I do. But boy, I know my limits, and I know when not to piss them off. Because when you do, ooh, Pareito Spirito Santo. That's all I'm going to say about that. And yes, I just said it. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. That's in Spanish, folks. Just to say that. But I mean, it was one of those moments. It was good for what it was worth. Like I said, nothing amazing about the fight. I mean, it was too short. Like Anthony said, $1:45. I mean, you really don't get that much action in $1:45. It was very limited, very quick. AJ started out looking great as usual, and then they try to make a pin. They try to make the tag. It didn't work. Basically, Layla tried to ditch her. Well, that was a big mistake. And at the end of the day, we did get a quick 1, 2, 3. Paige didn't really get that much action in the fight either, which was a little disappointing. I'll admit that. But we know it's probably going to be week after week. We're going to see all of these other partners and everybody else until we finally get the payoff where Paige and AJ go at it one more time for the Divas title. They're just trying to cement the fact that AJ Lee has no friends. Does that mean something's about to happen where we might have a surprise diva coming down the line or something like that? Because remember, they always like to tease things in the near future or week, and actually we just saw again tonight, that we're seeing the split up of the Wyatts. Roman and Harper are about to go on their own direction and spread their so-called righteousness to the world. Could there be, I don't know, maybe Sasha Banks coming up? Maybe Charlotte coming up? I mean, we've heard rumors. Could this be it? So we'll see what happens. But unfortunately for me, I'm sorry. I gotta give it an NA because this was not a dud. This was not a dud. I'll admit that, but this is an NA for me. So Anthony, I give it to you.
Yeah, I agree. It was an NA as well. I mean, teetering on dud status. In a way, you could say it was somewhat of a typical ho hum diva fight. That's what we're used to getting by now. But anyways, this AJ Lee flavor of the week thing. That's what I'm calling it. We saw it with Emma last week. We saw it with AJ. We saw it with Layla L tonight. Fletch makes a great point about the call-ups. I mean, a lot of the dirt sheets out there have been heavily rumoring some of those big names from NXT to finally be getting called up to the main roster. Names like Charlotte Flair, like Sasha Banks, Bayley, Becky Lynch. But I mean, as happy as I would be to see those divas, I'm going to be honest with you guys. There's one diva in NXT who I have had my eye on. Not only because of her abilities, but also because she is so damn cute. I got to tell you that right now, okay? And this diva, and here's the main selling point about this diva. This diva and I actually share a birthday. She was born the same day as me. That's one of the main reasons why I like this girl. Who am I talking about? Alexa Bliss. Yes, I'm talking about Alexa Bliss from the NXT. For those of you who haven't watched NXT and all that, if you haven't seen Alexa Bliss, holy wowza, she is a cutie. That is all I can say. Absolute cutie. This is the kind of girl that I would like to, I consider a girl next door. That's all there is to it. That's the kind of gal I look for, personally. But that is a true story. I do share a birthday with this girl. I do. I mean, and I even sent her a birthday tweet on the Twitter, which she favorited, which was pretty cool. But that's who I want to see come up. I mean, if they bring her up, oh boy. I mean, you thought Derek Ferreira lost his mind when Paige finally debuted? If and when the day comes Alexa Bliss shows up, well, you're gonna have to hose me down like we had to hose down Derek Ferreira when Paige made her debut the night after WrestleMania, but or the night he actually met her in Providence on June 20th. But anyways, as far as the fight is concerned, yeah, I gotta agree with Fletcher. This was an NA. Really no way to rank it. I mean, it kind of felt like a typical ho hum diva fight. It was over like that. But I do expect the AJ flavor of the week thing to continue again next week. It's probably going to be. It'll be very interesting to see who it is next week. I mean, I honestly can't venture a guess right now, but we'll see what happens. But anyway, it's an NA for me. I agree with you, Fletch. And Fletch, you also made a great point about those call-ups. So I do expect to see Charlotte Flair soon. I do expect to see Sasha Banks. Maybe we'll get some Becky Lynch. We'll get some Bayley. But for me, Alexa Bliss, that's the one I want. And if that happens, look out below. That's all I can say about that. So with that said, Michael Bullock, your thoughts on this Diva Tag match?
Oh my gosh, Anthony Florio, what are we gonna do with you? Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, I've seen Alexa Bliss when I watched NXT, and she looks cute, and I'll tell you what, she's a really good wrestler too, no doubt about it. And I mean, I would love to see her get that call up to the WWE, and also, like you said, Charlotte, and maybe Sasha Banks, and how about another one? And I don't know if you're going to agree with this, Anthony, on this one. Bayley. I mean, yeah, her character. I mean, not that good, but I'll tell you what, she put up a really good matchup at that NXT Takeover against Charlotte. So, yeah, I'd like to see all of them up at the. I mean, because the Divas roster needs a damn good makeover. If I'm going to be quite honest here. So, but as far as the match goes, yeah, I'm going to make it unanimous. Go with an NA here. I mean, no one. I mean, I hate to say it, but this did have the feeling of a typical ho hum diva fight. Sorry to say it on that, and that's a shame because you got two divas in that match that could wrestle AJ Lee and Paige and Layla. I mean, I'm not gonna rag on her because remember, it was 2 years ago when she had a pretty good reign as the Divas champion. So I'm not gonna really bash her on it, but Alicia Fox, not really sold on her. So yeah, and I do expect that flavor of the week to continue come next week. So NA for me. So with that being said, let's move on, Florio.
All right, and that's exactly what we're going to do here. So let's get on to our next moment here. Let's see, it was here we go. It was the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion Dolph Ziggler one-on-one with Randy Orton. Winner of the match in 18 minutes and 25 seconds. It was the Viper, Randy Orton, and I believe I'm leading off on this one. Quite frankly, I'm glad I am, because there's nothing left for me to say except these 4 words. Fight of the night right here. I mean, this was an unbelievable match. I mean, it kind of brought back memories of Night of Champions in 2012, and these two, put on a very good match. I mean, a match that we all raved over. I mean, on that night, it was only the second best fight of the night, because we all remember CM Punk and John Cena absolutely blew us away. But then again, what else was new? I mean, those two were putting on damn near 5-star classics all the time back during those days. But this, to me, I got to say, was between 3.5 to 4 stars, and the fight of the night. I mean, this was a really good match, and a lot of great action here, some great moves, and some great near falls, hot finish, and as great as the match was, I mean, and I know Michael Fletcher's a very happy man about this, because we all know how much he loves his Viper, but another super RKO by Randy Orton. I mean, almost like how Cesaro, throws the guy up in the air and catches him with the uppercut on the way down. Randy Orton did something similar here. He throws Dolph Ziggler up in the air and then catches him and nails him, and that's why I gotta call it another one of his vintage super RKOs. I mean, that was one of the sickest RKOs I've seen in a long time. I mean, it ranks right up there. I mean, the one he did on CM Punk at WrestleMania 27, that ranks up there. Of course, the one he did on Evan Bourne, which may be the sickest, that will always and forever, that one will be the sickest RKO of all time. When he caught Evan Bourne when Evan was going for the airborne, in the summer of 2010, which was unbelievable to say the very least. But that RKO, man, wow, that's all I can say about that. Love him or hate him, I mean, he is a damn good wrestler, and that's why he deserves to be where he is right now. So, wow, very good match. I mean, I don't know which fight was better. Was this fight better tonight, or was it the one at the Night of Champions in 2012 in Boston? But either way, Orton and Ziggler, these two guys can put on some great matches. I mean, I was 50-50 going in, but then once I saw how the fight played out, I'm like, I never should have had any doubts, because these two have great chemistry, and these two are capable of putting on a damn good match. And not only did we get a damn good match tonight, we got ourselves a pay-per-view quality match here tonight. So that's all I can say about that. So 3.5 to 4 stars, maybe teetering on 4.25, but I think 3.5 to 4 is the appropriate rating for this fight. Nothing left to say here. Fight of the night. But Randy Orton made himself known. He threw himself into the Hell in a Cell party. He had a little backstage moment with the Authority beforehand and said, well, whoever loses between Cena and Ambrose, I want the loser inside Hell in a Cell. So Hell in a Cell just got bigger and better, my friend. But then again, I told you this was going to happen. I mentioned this on the show last week. I mentioned it. Dirt Sheets reported it, and never go against the Dirt Sheets. That's all I can say about that. So Derek Ferreira says take it with a grain of salt. I always say read into it what you will. So that's all there is to say about it. So, wow. Very good match. Fight of the night. 3.5 to 4 stars. One of the better Raw matches we've had in a very long time. And quite frankly, it came at a time when we needed one the most. So with that said, Michael Bullock, your thoughts on Randy Orton and Dolph Ziggler?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the same range, 3.5 to 4 stars. Definitely was the fight of the night here. I mean, yeah, I mean they've had some good matches before. I mean, I did get a chance to watch their matchup from the the 2012 Night of Champions, of course, on the WWE Network, which of course you can see it for $9.99 a month. But yeah, I mean, I watched it, and now that you think of it, I mean, it's tough to tell which is better, this one or the one from Night of Champions. But all in all, I mean, this was a very, very well done match. Great back and forth, great near falls, and yeah, and of course with that RKO, that super RKO that he did, and he gets the victory. And of course, after the match, of course, he now throws himself into the Hell in a Cell party, saying that he wants to face the loser of John Cena and Dean Ambrose inside Hell in a Cell. So, who's it going to be? So I have to wait and find out who it is during this review. So, 3.5 to 4 stars, fight of the night. So with that being said, let's move on to Fletch.
Yeah, 3 3/4 to 4 stars. This was an amazing fight. I mean, Dolph Ziggler and Randy Orton are so good. They always give us that fight that really makes us say wow, and they did it again tonight. I mean, these guys just tore the house down. It was an amazing match. The fans in Atlanta loved it. The ATL was red hot. And, you know how fitting it is. You know, sometimes during the summer they call it Hotlanta. And tonight, they had a hot match with a hot crowd in the ATL. The Phillips Arena would never be the same after this one, because that was an amazing fight. And for once, WWE does some smart booking here. They give us 2 quality guys. And yeah, I always hear the knock about Randy Orton. Oh, he's too slow. He's too robotic. He's this. He's that. And you know what? And you know who I hear that from a lot of times from, guys? From our super fan, Megan Silva. She's always the one dumping on Orton, getting me all flustered and frustrated with her. A lot of times she drives me up the wall, fellas. I don't even know how I still have a lot of hair on my head with some of the stuff, especially when she rips me on Orton. I always like, ugh. But anyway, it was a great match. Definitely one of my favorite fights of the night. And the thing is that Randy Orton, you know what? I got to tell you, there's a little Viper in coming out now, man. He's getting a little peed off about the fact that the authorities catering to Seth Rollins, and Orton's starting not to like that a lot. And if you saw, there was a little, Randy Orton come out, did his business, dominated like he did, and, well, he basically just proved to Seth Rollins, hey, you might be the little puppy, you might be still like the little lap dog and the puppy dog around here, but remember, I'm a Viper. I've done this before. And before you think that you gotta be the top guy or the man, remember, he's a 9-time WWE champion. World champion, I should say. This isn't his first rodeo. This isn't the first time he's done this before. And let me just tell you this. You want to mess with a Viper? Better be careful, Rollins. Because there's one thing. The Viper, they like to strike first. Legend killer style. Nothing more to say. Florio, it's yours.
Oh, spoken like a true Cerebral Viper. That's all I can say about it. That's why we call you the Cerebral Viper, Fletch. No doubt about it. So, oh man, he's on fire tonight. We got a hot one here tonight, like Randy Jackson likes to say on American Idol. There's no question about that. So, yeah. And yes, Michael Bullock is absolutely right. I'm glad you mentioned that. Now that you did, there have been some dirt sheet rumors that Randy Orton could be turning face because of the whole Seth Rollins situation. So, and you know what? Bullock also makes a great point here. I mean, if you saw the match, was it just me, or was Orton getting somewhat of face reaction here? I mean, that crowd was into him. I mean, that crowd was popping for him. I mean, go figure. I mean, I was kind of surprised to see that, but hey, to each their own, I guess. So that's all I can say about it. So But nonetheless, that was a really, really good match. I mean, wow. I mean, after all those weeks of hard time fights, I mean, man, oh man, what a fight it was. No question about that. So, all right, let's. With that said, let's move on to our next moment here. Um, well, so far, here we go. We have another good matchup here. We got Mr. Money in the Bank, Seth Rollins, going up against the Real American, Jack Swagger. Of course, Uncle Zeb Coulter in his corner. Winner of the match in 9 minutes and 45 seconds, it was Mr. Money in the Bank, Seth Rollins. So with that said, Michael Bullock, your thoughts on this matchup?
All right. To me, I mean, I thought this was an all right match. I mean, definitely was a little too short for my liking. I mean, I would have liked to see a little bit more. I mean, it was, like you said, about just over, I mean, over 9 minutes. But of course, we had an overbooked, clunky finish, of course, with Seth Rollins grabbing the tights. So to me, I'm gonna give this an even 2 stars for my rating on the match. I mean, the action was good for the most part, but it's just that that clunky finish I just did not like. I mean, yeah, and then of course after the match, of course you see of course Randy Orton basically runs in the ring and he tells Seth Rollins, "Watch this." And what does he do? He turns Jack Swagger around and plants an RKO on Jack Swagger. And then all of a sudden, you see the two of them basically get in their faces and they start talking trash with each other. And then, I don't know if you guys heard it, but you could hear the crowd saying, let them fight. But unfortunately, that did not happen. So, yeah, I mean, and it's like what I just said in the chat box. I mean, I did hear rumors that Randy Orton could be turning babyface because of how the authorities been paying more attention to their prized possession, Mr. Money in the Bank, Seth Rollins, than the man that they dubbed the face of the WWE around this time last year, Randy Orton. So, yeah, so we're gonna have to wait and see how that all plays out. So, to me, I'm giving this an even 2 stars on the match. So, with that being said, let's move on to you, Fletch.
Yeah, 2 stars is my rating too. I think I agree with that. I mean, it was good for what it was worth, not like you said, but they did give them some good time. I mean, almost 10 minutes. I mean, that's fair enough. I mean, you still got a lot of things that was coming up, and remember, they were competing with Monday Night Football. They were competing with the 49ers and the St. Louis Rams. So I mean, there was a little bit of some timing that you just wanted to play around and hope and pray that everything worked out the way it did. But at the end of the day, I mean, it was good, not great, but like we said, the rivalry, they planting seeds between a Rollins versus Orton, and my goodness, I mean, it's alright. Like they're setting it up. They're setting it up. What's gonna happen next? We'll wait and see. But I will say this: I don't think the authorities gonna be particularly happy with the way that this night ended, especially because of the fact that Rollins and Orton kind of faced off, squared off, if you know what I mean. And you know, basically two guys' egos, they kind of ruffled each other's feathers. Okay, they just need to be, smooth it over. So Triple H and Stephanie probably had to do some damage control in the back, but at the end of the day, but for us, we liked it. We were salivating. We're like, ooh, this is getting good. I like this. Come on, fellas, give us something more. Come on. I just want somebody to get thrown into the Birdie boiler, man. We'll cut some. We'll put some scallions in there. We'll put some cilantro, man. We'll grass that up to like 400 degrees, man. We need a turkey roast or something, man. We'll do something good with this. Maybe get some orange soda for Anthony. Michael Bullock gets a Coke and I'll get some Coke. I don't know, whatever. We'll definitely do something with that. I don't know. But we were liking this. I mean, we were licking our chops on this one. So hopefully there'll be something more at the end. But we'll wait and see what happens. Florio, it's yours.
Oh my goodness, Michael Fletcher. I mean, Michael Bullock, is it just me or is Michael Fletcher really hot tonight? I mean, when you're hot, man. That's all I can say about that. So, oh my goodness, Fletch. I mean, oh, how I wish we could have had this Friday and Saturday nights for our football shows. But boy, howdy. But anyways, getting into this, to me, I'm gonna give this between no, you know what? I'm gonna give this a solid 2.5 stars. I thought this was a solid matchup here. I mean, of course the outcome was never in doubt. You knew Rollins was going over, but this was still a solid match for my liking, and some good action here, and two good workers, and yeah, that's all I can ask. So yeah, solid matchup here. No big surprise that Rollins won, and then of course the stuff with Orton afterwards, another sick RKO. I mean that was great. Crowd was into that as well. I mean, like I said, Randy Orton was getting a face reaction tonight. I mean, I don't know why, but maybe those fans maybe they read the same dirt sheet that we did. You never know. You know how word travels fast in the IWC, no doubt about it. So, very very solid match to say the very least between two very good young workers, and yeah, I enjoyed it for the most part. So 2.5 stars. I feel that is the correct rating for the match. So, really nothing left for me to say here except. Let's move on to our next bout, which let's get to it. I mean, it was one of the featured matches of the evening. It was Rusev against The Big Show. Of course, before the match, Rusev cut a promo. Rusev and Lana, I should say, both cut a promo before the match, and then it led into the match between Rusev and The Big Show. Winner of the match via disqualification. Yeah, via disqualification in 14 minutes and 10 seconds. It was Rusev. So, trying to think here. I believe Michael Fletcher leads off on this one, correct? I guess I'm getting the nod. Okay, Michael Fletcher, your thoughts on Rusev and The Big Show?
All right, guys. And oddly enough, they played this to the T. This was right around the same time of the Monday Night Football halftime, and that's why they did what they did. First off, they started with a longer than expected promo because they knew that they were getting pretty close to halftime, so that's why they tried to kill the time. And then when everything came together, the fight happened, and you know what? I'll even say it like this. Just like the football game, it was a tale of two parts. Part 1, The Big Show came out, dominated in the first early minutes of the fight. I mean, really, I'll even admit it, probably the first 5 minutes of this fight, it was all Big Show. Big Show absolutely dominated Rusev in ways we never even thought was going to happen. And I don't think myself, Anthony, or Michael Bullock even thought that this was going to be how they were going to start this fight, but boy, Big Show not only started out hot, he started red hot. I mean, this was the best he looked in a long time. Then Rusev came back, started dominating in the fight, and you had USA chants going, trying to will the Big Show back, but one funny thing started. They started the tomahawk chop. Hey, you're in Atlanta, the home of the Braves, the home of the 1995 World Series champion, the 5-time National League champions, and division champions for about almost 15 years, guys. So we have known for the hardware, and oh, by the way, the Braves as a complete organization, 3-time World Series champions. But that's for a story for another day. But I will say this, man. When they started doing the tomahawk chop, when they started getting into that, man, brother, this Braves fan, and I'm a Braves fan. I I was getting goosebumps, man. I was charged up more than usual. And Anthony, you know, I'm normally a guy who's pretty mild mannered, pretty cool, relaxed. But there's those moments, man, when I get jacked up. I'm jacked up, and I really like get like my energy just gets like revved, and I think that's kind of why I'm a little more revved up than usual because once I start hearing the oh, oh, that just like it's in the blood. It's in here. It's in here, people. It's in the heart. It's in the mind. It's in the soul. You know, when you're an Atlanta Braves fan, that's what you know. That A that's on that hat, the jersey that we wear, that I wear proudly each, once when I wear proudly, it's in the blood and it's in the system and it's in there forever. So I mean, it was an awesome feeling. The match itself was actually really good too. The way that they stored, the way they talked about it, the story was great, and then Mark Henry had to come in and muck the whole thing up, man. That's the only downside is that we had a horrible finish. I wish Henry didn't come out. No matter what, if Big Show would have lost, but because of the accolade, or if Big Show would have pulled off the victory with a 1-2-3 or a knockout, I think it would have been a lot more better because this was on the verge of at least 2.5 to 3 stars. Like it was right there. And then the finish happened and it knocked it right down. So to me, I could only give this 2 to 2.25 stars. That's my official rating for the fight. I wish I could give it higher, but the finish practically knocked it right out of the knocked it right like it was about to get knocked out of the park, and then it got brought back to reality. So unfortunately, I'm gonna use a baseball term. It was a high fly ball, deep but playable, at least warning track power. Sorry guys, man, you were that close from knocking it out of the park. Just couldn't. But the finish ruined it badly for me. 2 to 2.25 stars is my rating. Anthony, go.
Yeah, man, I absolutely agree. 2 to 2.25, maybe 2.5. That's really the best I can give it. I mean, because clunky finish. I mean, what else is new? I mean, you know how we are about those type of finishes. One of the many things on our programs that we have zero tolerance for. Ranks right up there, no doubt about it. Um, Clean finish either way. That's how we would have liked it, to be quite honest with you. But the match was, the match was good. I mean, the pre-match promo with Rusev and Lana, I thought that was really good too. I mean, Lana continues to be money on the mic. I mean, no question about it. She is the heat. She is the heel heat magnet. I mean, it's almost like Vicky Guerrero passed the torch to her. I mean, she's like, I was the original heel heat magnet. Now I pass that on to you, Lana. And yeah, it was a passing of the torch indeed, because Vicky Guerrero for the longest time was a heel heat magnet. Everybody knows that. Nowadays, it ain't Vicky Guerrero because he's got a real life job now, and that's one of the reasons why Vicky Guerrero was actually asked to be a part of that 15th anniversary SmackDown show, but she said no because of that real life job. True story. But anyways, little Tony fun fact for you. But anyways, Lana is the heel heat magnet, and she continues to be. I mean, Rusev's getting better, but let's face it, when it comes to the mic work, that's all Lana. Lana's the mouthpiece. I mean, that's all I can say about that. So that's really all there is to say about that. And that little line about Atlanta. I mean, that crowd was into it. I mean, doing the tomahawk chop of the Braves there. Yes, I know Michael Fletcher loved that, being the Brave mark that he is and always will be. I mean, yeah, I mean, and Fletch reliving those glory days. I mean, we all know those glory days, but those glory days are long gone, my man. I'm sorry to say it, but anyways, it was a 2 to 2.5 star match. I mean, it would have been better if we had a clean finish, but unfortunately we had, our typical TNA clunky type finish. with Henry getting involved. I'm starting to think maybe at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view we're gonna have some kind of match here. I'm thinking probably maybe a handicap match, maybe Rusev against Big Show and Henry. That's what I'm thinking. But I really don't know how they're gonna play it out. But I got a feeling we're gonna see some form of this at Hell in a Cell in a couple weeks. So 2 to 2.5 stars. I probably would say fourth best fight of the night, maybe. That's really the best I can give it. Between third and fourth, that's really all I can give there. So it's definitely within 3 to 4. So really nothing left for me to say here except Michael Bullock, your thoughts on Big Show and Rusev there.
Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna give this 2 stars as well on the match. I mean, I like the promo, of course, with Rusev and Rusev and Lana, and of course, excuse me, of course, Lana once again continuing to stick it, of course, to America, and I mean, you all know that by now when it comes to her, and I mean, this is what I like. I mean, and Rusev saying that Show's actions will have consequences, and that Big Show is going to be crushed, and yeah, and the match here was, I mean, it was getting really, really good between these two, and then Mark Henry had to come in and stick his nose where it doesn't belong, and unfortunately we got the disqualification, and like I said, I would have given this a much better ranking if it weren't for the Goldberg clunky finish, or as I like to call it, a clusterfuck of a finish here. And I mean, come on. I mean, this was turned out to be really good, and they had to fuck things up. I mean, by coming up with a finish like this. I mean, ugh. I mean, I didn't like the finish. We have zero tolerance on it, and I get this feeling at Hell in a Cell, I think we're gonna get Big Show versus Rusev once again. So we'll have to wait and see on that. So 2 stars is my rating. So with that being said, let's just move on, Florio.
All right, and move on. We will to our next matchup. Let me get it up here. Okay, it was United States Heavyweight Champion Sheamus one-on-one against The Miz. Winner of the match via countout in 5 minutes and 10 seconds. It was the awesome one, The Miz. So I believe I lead off on this one. 1.5 to 2. That's the correct rating for this bout. I mean, you know, it was an okay match. I mean, you know, some good action, but you know, another meh finish there. I didn't really like the finish to this one, but you know, it gets Miz over, and I think this was the way they wanted to set it up. So I'm thinking maybe Hell in a Cell, we're going to get The Miz against Sheamus for the United States Heavyweight Championship. That's my thoughts on that. I think that's where they're headed here. Mizdow gets involved here. I mean, you know, that's all I can say about it. I mean, the fans are. I mean, these fans are really getting behind. You know, they're really starting to get behind Mizdow for some odd reason, and who knows? Maybe a face turn could do him some wonders here in the near future. But you know, we'll have to wait and see on that. But anyways, okay fight. I mean, it wasn't really the best, but you know, for what we got, I mean, for the 5 minutes and 10 seconds we got, I could probably say 1.5 to 2. And like I said, expect Sheamus and The Miz for the U.S. Heavyweight title at Hell in a Cell. So really nothing left for me to say here except Michael Bullock, it's yours.
What was your rating, Florio? I didn't quite hear.
I said 1.5 to 2.
Yeah, I'm going in that range. 1.5 to 2 stars is my rating. I mean, it was fine for what it was worth, and but once again, we get another overbooked, clunky finish here, and yeah, I mean, somehow the fans are really getting into this, getting into the Miz and Damien Mizdow. So yeah, so Yeah, Anthony pretty much touched on everything. So 1.5 to 2 stars is my rating. So let's move on to Fletch.
Yeah, 1.5 to 2 is my rating as well. I mean, it was a solid fight. Um, the fans were definitely behind Mizdow, which was pretty shocking even for me. But no, other than that, nothing left. Anthony, it's yours.
All right. Okay. Just had to get back here. I had to step away for a moment, but all right, back in now. So with that said, let's move on to our next match, and well, it's time for the Total Divas Showcase match of the week. Yay! It was a six diva tag team match. On one side, we had Nikki Bella, Summer Rae, and Cameron. On the other side, you had Brie Bella, Natalia, and Naomi, accompanied by Rosa Mendez and the one of the two special guest stars of Monday Night Raw, Nene Leakes. Yeah, okay. So winners, yep. And there's the infamous Michael Bullock "I can't take it" pose. That's all. That's what I'm gonna call it. That's what I'm gonna call it from now on. The "I can't take it" from courtesy of Michael Bullock there. So that's a future meme waiting to happen. So winners of the match. I don't have a time a total time of the fall. Um, Brie Bella and Natalia and Naomi win the match. And I think the reason why Michael Bullock was covering up was because he knows he has to lead off on it, unfortunately. So, Michael Bullock, your thoughts on the Total Diva Showcase?
Oh my god. Do I really have to lead off on this fight? Oh man. Fortunately, we're going to the draw. Alright. Worst fight of the night. Absolute dud. I mean, pointless, unnecessary, unacceptable, inexcusable, irresponsible, and borderline reprehensible. Once again, this is to show off the old divas when it comes to it. And I mean, you saw, of course, near the end of the match, it looks like Nikki Bella was going to set up for the torture rack on Brie and have a repeat of what happened last week, but nope, not this time. Brie turns the tables around, gets the 1-2-3 on Nikki Bella, and they had to go. Yeah, so nice little retribution, of course, for Brie Bella, and I get this feeling after seeing all that, we're gonna get Nikki Bella and Brie Bella at Hell in a Cell. I mean, I know that's gonna happen. So, absolute dud, worst fight of the night. I'm not gonna get into any further more details on this clusterfuck of a ho hum diva fight. So, nothing else to say. I'm done. I'm finished with this nonsense. Let's go.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it was definitely a cluster. It wasn't that great of a fight either. There's no doubt about it. I'm not really gonna save anything about the fight, or nothing that I wouldn't say anything really that would have said, anything that would have been amazing about it. It was bad. I'll admit that, but I'll say this as well. I thought it was good for the most part because of the fact that, you know, for once WWE did something smart. Yeah, I know Nene Leakes was the guest host, and we were kind of like, oh God, what they're gonna do? You know what? They did it. They had one little brief moment behind the scenes, backstage, with her running with the Total Divas, and then she just came out to cheer them on. You know what? Bravo WWE. You actually did something smart for once. You didn't shove her down our stinking throats like you did last week with Oda Kabi and Kathy Lee Gifford, because we really went off on you guys. This time you must have smartened up. You're like, okay, no, don't upset the apple cart. Let's just let the wrestling focus, and we let them do what they got to do. So for us, thank you WWE for once doing something smart and not stupid. Now, as far as this Diva fight goes, yeah, it wasn't great. It was a ho hum, but here's the thing, guys. Nikki lost to Brie. Remember, Remember all this stuff we were talking about a couple of weeks ago about this cat and mouse between Nikki Bella and Brie Bella? How Nikki was losing all these fights, and Brie was winning all these fights lately. Now Brie actually got the Duke over Nikki here tonight. Like, do we need any argument about who the better Bella is? Now, I heard a rumor, a dirt sheet, that Nikki and Brie are supposed to fight one-on-one at Hell in a Cell, where the loser becomes the winner's assistant. I don't know how that's going to go out. We'll wait and see what happens. Other than that, there's nothing more to talk about. Florio is yours.
Yeah, typical ho hum diva fight here. You probably would have to say it was, one of the worst fights of the night, if not the worst fight of the night. I mean, it was definitely teetering on a dud. Um, but Michael Fletcher does make a valid point here. I mean, it wasn't really all that really particularly bad. I mean, I know Michael Bullock didn't like it. I mean, because I know he doesn't like these kind of matches, and I can understand that. But Michael, I think I'm gonna go. I'm actually gonna go with Fletcher on this one. I mean, it wasn't really all that bad. I think we could honestly, just chalk this up as another NA, if I'm being quite honest. I mean, I know Bullock didn't like it. I can understand it because I know how much he's not really into these total. But then again, we're not really into the Total Diva Showcase fights. I mean, that's one thing that that has become an epidemic and it's become something that they keep doing it repeatedly every single week. But that's what happens when you have your top tier talent, on the injured reserves, like the Daniel Bryans and the Bad News Barretts and the Roman Reigns and everything else. But yeah, it may have been a dud. But you know what? I mean, Brie actually got over here, and Fletch, and it makes another great point. I mean, last week, I mean, WWE did one of the things that that really got on our nerves, really upset us, of course, when they shoved Kathy Lee and Hoda down our throats, and that's why I went Mimi crazy, as you know, last week. I had all those mass Mimis last week, and which have gotten a lot of likes, by the way, on the Mimi Gene last time I checked it. But anyways, after the whole Kathy Lee and Hoda thing and how disgusting and classless that was, if I'm being honest. Thankfully, they did not do the same thing with Nene Leakes. I'm gonna be real honest with you. I honestly thought I thought what they were gonna do with her. I honestly thought two things. One, I thought they were gonna have her with Adam Rose and the Rosebuds, like they had Kathy Lee and Hoda with them last week. That was one thing I thought. And number two, I honestly thought that she was gonna be a lot worse than Kathy Lee and Hoda. I was dreading it, to be honest with you. Really, really dreading it. And then I heard, and then I got another alert saying that Father Chrisley from Chrisley Knows Best was going to be there too, and I'm like, Nene Leakes is bad enough, but you got to throw this guy in my face too. But the thing is, here it is, they kept them at a minimum, both of them. Great. Very happy about that. I mean, if one or both of them had been shoved down our throats tonight, Ridiculously Over would have come out, and I would have channeled my inner Dean Ambrose on this one. I would have lost my freaking mind if that had happened. Honestly, I was expecting it, but they did the right thing. Kept them at an absolute minimum. They didn't shove them fully down our throats, but they just shoved them, they just shoved them in our mouths. That's all they did. They just shoved them in our mouths. Thankfully, they didn't shove them down our throats. That's all I can say about it. So they finally did something right for a change. So I'm really happy about that. Match to me, NA to a dud. That's really all there is to say about it. One of the worst fights of the night. Typical ho hum diva fight. Total Diva Showcase fights. Not fun. Not fun at all. And that's why Michael Bullock covered himself up. That's all I can say about it. So, all right. So there's really nothing left to say. Let's just move on. And that's exactly what we're going to do right now. And let's see what we got here. Well, it was the main event. It was your no-holds-barred contract on a pole match. John Cena, Lunatic Fringe, Dean Ambrose. Winner of the match in 6 minutes and 30 seconds. The Lunatic Fringe, Dean Ambrose, gets the fall, gets the win. That means Dean Ambrose will be facing Seth Rollins at Hell in a Cell And it also means John Cena will have to go up against Randy Orton. So with that said, Michael Fletcher, your thoughts on the main event and all the developments.
An unbelievable, thrilling main event, to say the very least, to close a Monday Night Raw show. But I will say this, gentlemen, WWE, you deserve to be commended. You absolutely got this right. The right man won. The right man got the victory. I was pulling for Seth Rollins. One of my friends was even texting me. She's like, you wanted Rollins to get the shot? You wanted Rollins and Ambrose to get the shot at to face off in Hell in a Cell, and I was like, you goddamn right, I wanted this fight. I wanted that fight. I wanted it. I got it. I'm thrilled. And you know what? Yeah, there was some authority shenanigans. The hell with it. It was a thrilling match, a good match, the second best fight of the night. This was 3 to 3.25 stars, no doubt about it in my mind. And the fight was so good. And yeah, you felt it. You felt that these two guys wanted the shot at Seth Rollins, and it was good, And I understand the authority wanted to rough him up and everything else, and we had a crazy finish. But one thing, Dean Ambrose climbed up, had his hand on the thing. Hey, John Cena, you couldn't see me when I was up here. Yank. Pulls the contract down. He gets the golden opportunity. He gets the golden ticket. WWE, I know you're probably not gonna listen to me, and I know you're not gonna listen to this one fan's dream. I know Randy Orton and John Cena are your two biggest names in the company, and I know you're gonna be itching to put Cena and Orton as the main event fight. Do the IWC a favor. Do a favor for the wrestling form. Put Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins as the main event of Hell in a Cell. Here's the reason why. Two young guns in their, soon to be prime of their careers. One is Mr. Money in the Bank. The other is the Lunatic Fringe. Two of the more exciting young talents you have in WWE. Now, you guys have always griped about, we've always griped about a youth movement, the next generation, and for us to be in this so-called reality era. Let's just say this. These two guys are going to be your future flag bearers for the WWE for the next 10, 15, 20 years to come. If I was you, and if I was smart, and if I was booking this would be your main event for the event. Now, I know I'm going to get ripped by all of the established people saying, why am I thinking this way, and why am I calling this? Because you know what? Because I'm kind of sick and tired of the typical Cena getting main events. Randy Orton, as much as I love Orton, but these two guys, they don't deserve the main event spotlight. Not this time around. Yeah, do we really want to see Cena and Orton main event for the 20 bajillionth time? I don't think so. Because as much as there's a great rivalry between Cena and Orton, and there's been a legacy rivalry, to say the very least, right now the hottest rivalry in the WWE is Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. And they've been playing this card out for a little while now. And now, with the authority in their back pocket and everything else, and the whole 9 yards and blah, 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 I think it's now time that you turn the heat up and give them what we deserve. Give Ambrose and Rollins the main event spot. Just one person's opinion. And I hope my voice is not the voiceless, like CM Punk would say. Anthony Florio, It's all yours.
Michael Fletcher, I'm right there with you. I mean, the match. I mean, match could have been better if I'm being honest. I mean, with the stipulation and everything else, I was kind of hoping for a little more, to be honest. I can honestly say maybe a solid 3 at best, maybe 2.5 to 3 at the absolute best for this match. Um, because I kind of wanted to see a little bit more, and there were and it's really because of the authority shenanigans. I'm really sick and tired of those, to be honest with you. But here's the thing. I mean, Michael Fletcher is absolutely, positively, 100% on the ball on this one. You're not the voiceless here, Fletch. I'm right here with you, and I wouldn't be surprised if Michael Bullock chimes in as well. I mean, when we get to him, let me just say it like this: WWE has a golden opportunity here. I mean, you got a great opportunity right in front of you to elevate two your two of your most unbelievable young talents in the WWE today, in Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, with their rivalry, which has captivated us throughout the summer, which led into that, which led into the craziest lumberjack match we ever witnessed back in August at SummerSlam. That tore the house down. It started with Battleground, those 3 brawls they had during the Battleground event in July, and then fast forward to August in SummerSlam, the wildest and craziest and most unpredictable lumberjack match we ever saw. A match we did not give a chance. Yeah, we're regretting that one. And then the wild and crazy brawl they had at the Night of Champions last month. Now you're putting these 2 guys inside Hell in a Cell. You have potential not only for a 5-star classic, but you also have potential, if executed and booked correctly, regardless of the outcome, could be your 2014 match of the year. You really do. My top 3 goes like this. For those of you, I mean, you guys already know what my top 3 is. But by you guys, I mean Fletch and Bullock. But for any new viewers out there, my top 3 matches of the year are as follows. Number 3, the Elimination Chamber match from Elimination Chamber. Number 2, Daniel Bryan versus Triple H, WrestleMania 30. And number 1, as of right now, John Cena, Bray Wyatt, Last Man Standing from Payback. All 3 of those were 5-star classics, in my honest opinion. If Rollins and Ambrose is the main event, and you give them the amount of time that they deserve, which I hope is at least 25 to 30 minutes, which is the average time of a Hell in a Cell match, you got a gold mine. You got an absolute gold mine. Don't, and I repeat, don't screw this up. You put Orton and Cena in that main event, you're going to have the IWC, let's just say the IWC is going to be coming after your asses. That's all there is to say about that. The IWC will be rioting like the old school ECW. That's all I'm going to say. And Mikey, you know, being the ECW mark that you are, the old school ECW mark, you know how wild and crazy those riots were. That's what we here at the IWC will do if you put Randy Orton and John Cena as the main event of Hell in a Cell. Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, that's your Hell in a Cell main event. These 2 guys have busted their asses and have worked as hard as any 2 men have worked throughout 2014. Let these 2 guys have their moment in the sun and let them do their thing inside the Devil's Playground. That's all there is to do. That's all there is to say about it. And while Fletch and Bullock have been, going at it, have been, sharing their opinions about some things, I have been coming across mass breaking news from the world of World Wrestling Entertainment. Some shocking, some not so shocking. Of course, as you know, they announced the location for SummerSlam earlier today, SummerSlam 2015 at the Meadowlands Arena in East Rutherford, New Jersey for the 4th time. That's really cool. First time since 2007 we're going to see that. And there was an announcement about the main event for next Monday's Raw. According to the WWE Twitter feed, well, this may seem predictable, but this is a good predictable. Next week on Raw, they had a little video. They had one of those backstage, behind-the-scenes videos. Triple H and Stephanie McMahon with Renee Young. And Triple H announced the main event for next Monday's Raw, the Go-Home Show. 3-on-2 handicap match. Seth Rollins, Randy Orton, and Kane versus John Cena and Dean Ambrose in a street fight. Yes, 3-on-2 handicap street fight. The Authority versus Cena and Ambrose. Book that. It's booked. 3-on-2 handicap street fight. And the last bit of breaking news, and when I saw this, I was as shocked could be. WWE has decided not to renew the contract of ring announcer Justin Roberts, and therefore Justin Roberts, as of right now, effective immediately, has been future endeavored. I am not making this up. It's on WWE.com, fellas. It's on WWE.com right now.
What?
That's what a lot of people are saying. I mean, I found this on Twitter.
Wait. Future. Justin Roberts' future didn't. Wait a minute. What the hell?
How the fucking hell did they just let him go like that?
Wait a minute. Who's going to be the ring announcer for Monday Night Raw then? I mean, I know they got JoJo Offerman. She's working on NXT right now, doing a very good job. But what?
Mick, you never know. They could. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they could bring Tony Chimel back. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm not making this up. Normally, I like to have these moments where I would make something up just to get a rise out of you guys. But I'm not making this up, fellas. This is true. This is legit. I'll send you. Well, it's on WWE.com right now. So those are the big breaking news stories of the day. SummerSlam 2015, Izod Center, Meadowlands Arena, East Rutherford, New Jersey. That's where that's going to be next year for SummerSlam, ending the Staples Center run of 6 years. Authority versus Cena and Ambrose 3-on-2 handicap street fight next Monday night on Raw. But the big news that just dropped a little bit ago, ring announcer Justin Roberts, future endeavored by WWE. Contract they decided not to renew his contract, and effective immediately, he's gone. Damn shame too, because this young man has been so fun to watch.
No.
Yeah,
I agree with Michael Bullock. This is horrible. I mean, WWE has done some very head-scratching decisions in their day, but this has to be one of the biggest head-scratchers. I don't get it. I don't like it. Unless they're going to try to put Lillian Garcia back as the voice or as the ring announcer for Monday Night Raw, then I'm definitely down with that. If they want to bring Tony Chimel back, I'm all down with that. Unless they're going to bring up JoJo Offerman, or even, or they might even use Eden Styles or Eden Rose, I'll say. If they want to use her and have her as the ring announcer for Monday Night Raw, then maybe I'll be okay with it. But for right now, just on pure shock and the whole 9 yards, I'm not real happy with this one, Anthony. And I think Michael Bullock and I can both agree. I'm not really a guy who does the no like you guys do.
You know what? Let's just do it up. You know what? I mean, Michael Fletcher, for one night, we're going to make you an honorary member of the Yes Movement. So with that said, join Michael Bullock and me, and let's say it loud and proud about this. No.
No. Yeah,
No,
congratulations, WWE. You really fucked this up.
They definitely screwed the pooch on this one.
And I put the link in our text chat box so you guys can see the article officially from WWE.com. You can give that a whirl. I just did. So lost in all of this, we still got to get to Michael Bullock's overall review. Well, yeah, it's Michael Bullock's review on the main event and the developments from the main event. The Hell in a Cell matches and everything else. So Bullock, your thoughts on the main event?
Yeah, as far as the main event goes, I mean, I thought it was a 2.5 to 3 star match. I mean, it was fine for what it was worth, but this was crazy. And then of course you had the authority shenanigans, which of course I don't like. I mean, I don't understand why they tried to stick their nose in the match. I mean, I think maybe it was because they were trying to prevent Cena and Ambrose from getting that contract to face Seth Rollins. And I mean, we saw this happen before in WWE. I don't know if you guys remember. I think it was in the ECW back in 2006 when, yeah, I think it was like Rob Van Dam and Sabu with against going up against each other for it was like a contract ladder match for to see who would face the Big Show for the ECW title at SummerSlam that year, and Big Show basically took him out and wanted the contract coming down, so basically he could rip it up so that way he didn't have to face any of them. Maybe it had that little bit of a feeling of it, but yeah, but of course Ambrose. I mean, after all that authority stuff, grabs the contract and basically does the "you can't see me" to John Cena, and yep, now it's going to be Ambrose and Rollins at Hell in a Cell. So you know what that means? Cena versus Orton in Hell in a Cell at Hell in a Cell. I mean, yeah, WWE. I mean, this is your chance to really hit a home run by putting Ambrose versus Rollins in the main event at Hell in a Cell. I mean, I don't want to see John Cena versus Randy Orton in the main event of Hell in a Cell. But unfortunately, I just get this bad feeling that that's going to happen because you know they want two of their golden boys of the WWE main eventing this event, John Cena and Randy Orton. I don't want it to happen, but I just get this bad feeling that we're going to see that happen. And if that happens, watch out. The Phenom's going to come out, and I'm going to go on a major, major rant, and you know the IWC is going to be pissing on this main event. So, yeah, so really nothing else for me to say except 3 stars. So with that, let's get on to our overall thoughts on the show.
Yeah, I'm gonna start it off here, but yeah, definitely some major shocking developments from the WWE over the last few minutes here, but you gotta love you gotta love live broadcasts, folks. I mean, anything can happen on them, and boy, how did I just drop some bombs and then some. But anyways, let me just before I go into the overall review, let me just say it like this, about the 2 main events of Hell in a Cell. I want to make a further point, and that is it's like the baseball playoffs. I mean, Randy Orton and John Cena is like the St. Louis Cardinals and the San Francisco Giants. I consider that National League Championship Series, I consider that the best for business championship series. That's all I can say about that. That's the best for business series because you got 2 teams that arguably have been, quote unquote, the faces of Major League Baseball. Whereas on the other side of the coin, with the Baltimore Orioles and the Kansas City Royals in the ALCS, that's your Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. That's really what that is. So I'm really hoping that, that and that series, I consider that the underdog series. That's all I can say about that. So that's just a point I wanted to make further. So, I mean, Cardinals and Giants, we've seen it. It's been done to death. I mean, same thing with Randy Orton and John Cena. But whereas in the ALCS, we have a fresh matchup, Baltimore and KC. So really hoping that, WWE will they'll go that fresh route and we'll get that Ambrose Rollins main event. That's what we're hoping for. So, but we got a couple weeks to to see how that goes down. But overall reviews on Monday Night Raw, let me just say it like this: first time in forever and a day, a Monday Night Raw that did not suck. Wow, I honestly thought we'd never see the day. I mean, all these weeks of dismal shows and average, mediocre, everything else, and lazy booking, and all these weeks where dud enhancement fights ruled the roost, campy comedy, bull funky nonsense, unnecessary filler, all 3 of those things. It seemed that all 3 of those things seemed to rule the roost, and you had especially in 2 of the most rabid IWC crowd cities of all time in Chicago and Brooklyn. I mean, even though The Rock saved last week's show, but to me, this Monday Night Raw tonight, I got to say between 7.5 to 8 out of 10. I mean, this was a very good show tonight. I mean, we had like what 4 or 5 quality matches on this show tonight. I mean, Randy Orton and Dolph Ziggler fight of the night. I got to say the triple threat tag team match was the second best fight of the night. Third best fight, I'd have to give that to the main event. And then you had the Big Show against the Rusev, and you had a solid match with Sheamus and Miz. You had the opening segment with Cena and Ambrose with the Authority. That was well done, and everything else. I mean, so many things played out and made it a fun show to watch tonight. The only real lowlights were the Diva fights, if I'm being honest, and of course the Total Diva Showcase. That was the disaster fight of the night, obviously, and then of course the non-Total Diva Showcase, which was a solid okay effort, but not really all that special. And wow, no done enhancement fights, maybe except for the Diva fights, but hardly any done enhancement fights. No campy comedy, full funky nonsense. They kept that at an absolute minimum, and there was hardly any unnecessary filler. But some of the things could have been better. But at the end of the day, I'm going to give this show, you know what? I'm going to give this a solid 8 out of 10. 7.5 at the worst, but I think this definitely deserves to be an 8 out of 10. I mean, I don't know if you guys agree with me on that, but that's my story. I'm sticking to it. And the best, and all I can say is this was the best Monday Night Raw I've seen in forever and a day. So now that you've given us a good show, WWE, I don't expect anything less from here on in. You got a go-home show next week. You got a good main event. I mean, yeah, it's been done to death, but it's under Street Fight rules, for God's sakes. This one might actually be worth watching. When you have the Authority, when you have Rollins, when you have Orton, and you have Kane going up against Cena and Ambrose, 3-on-2 handicap match, you're like, oh, God, not again. Let me reiterate. Street Fight rules. That just made it better. Yeah, it's predictable. Yeah, it's been done to death. But you have a stipulation that's fun, that's fresh, and most of all, exciting. That's all there is to say about it. So, 8 out of 10, that's my story. 7.5 at the worst. So with that said, Michael Bullock, your thoughts on this actually good edition of Raw tonight?
Yeah, I do agree. This was a very good edition of Monday Night Raw. I mean, I know last few Monday Night Raws has been pretty much meh, but yeah, finally we got ourselves a really good show. 7.5 to 8 out of 10. I do agree on that. The only lowlights for me was, of course, the Divas matches, but other than that, everything else was really good. I mean, the thumbs in the middle for me was that Miz versus Sheamus match, but everything else was good. Ambrose versus Cena, the triple threat tag team match, Big Show versus Rusev, Rollins versus Swagger, and Orton versus Ziggler. Yeah, and that opening segment with Dean Ambrose and Dean Ambrose, John Cena, and the Authority. Yeah. So other than that, this was a very, very. This was a good edition of Monday Night Raw. But yeah, getting back to that. Getting back to that breaking story about Justin Roberts. I mean, I did see it on WWE.com. Well, of course, on my iPad. But WWE. I mean, Justin Roberts was a real good ring announcer. I mean, especially like with how he announced he always announces the Undertaker when he comes out, when he says The Undertaker. I always liked it when he announced it, or when it was the WWE Championship match. I mean, I always liked how he pronounced it. I mean, he's really come about here. I mean, unless they decided to put William Garcia back at as ring announcer for Monday Night Raw, maybe bring Tony Chimmel back. I mean, I'd be okay with that, or some of the other moves you guys talked about. But until I see that, WWE, they really fucked this up. And I mean, and this is why, as of right now, this is why they're losing millions of dollars right now, because of moves like this and giving us bad editions of Monday Night Raw. I mean, I don't. I mean, was Justin Roberts giving was he coming under some kind of scrutiny? Could that be the reason why he did not get his contract renewed? But either way, WWE really fucked up on this whole thing. And yeah, to them, I'll just say it and end it like this to them: you idiots! Move on. I'm done. I'm finished with this nonsense. 7.5 to 8 out of 10 is my rating for the show. Fletcher, it's yours.
Kind of slight disagreement. 7 to 7.5 is my rating for tonight's show, but I will say this: I thought they did a very, very good job delivering this Monday Night Raw. They're far and away better than the last 2 weeks that they've done, and probably the best that they've done since after the start of Monday Night Football, since the season started back in September. This was an enjoyable Raw, to say the very least, and I really liked it. They definitely had somewhat of a good momentum after The Rock came back and the monster pop that got on social media. But tonight they actually put a very darn good fourth show on the page, and with everything that went down tonight, I'm pleased with the WWE. I gotta give you guys props. I don't want to shed too much light on it because I want to see more of the story, find out what the real reason why Justin Roberts was let go. They did say that the contract ran out and whatnot. And the thing is that it could have been a cost-cutting thing, Michael Bullock. We don't know, because I don't think it was because of performance. I think it's just that they were just unable to retain him. I mean, they are scaling back a lot. There's been a lot of things that they've been doing lately to try to cut costs. As a matter of fact, they're even talking about not using that much pyro coming up for the upcoming WrestleMania. Because of the fact that they're going to be out in San Francisco, and it's going to be in actually the middle of the day, because they said that by the time that they start the show, it's going to be like literally 4 o'clock in the afternoon West Coast time. So there might be a chance we might not see that much pyro at all for the upcoming WrestleMania. So who knows what's going to happen on that night. I will say this: I think WWE is trying to play as coy as they can, and we'll find out sooner or later about everything else. But tonight, let's not rain on their parade. Tonight, they have a reason to celebrate, because tonight they actually put a very good Monday Night Raw for us, and we all were entertained with that. So, Anthony, it's yours.
All right. That's going to do it for this edition of the Wrestling Forum. We appreciate you tuning in as always. Of course, it's now time for our shout-outs, and Michael Bullock, you're going to be leading off on that. And with that said, Michael Bullock, your shout-outs, then Fletch, and then, of course, I'll wrap it up and promote the future content. So, Michael Bullock, you're first up with shout-outs.
All right. Special shout-outs to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to support our shows, whether it is the Wrestling Forum or Strictly Sports. It really doesn't matter. We really appreciate it. We thank you all so very much for joining us for another edition of the Wrestling Forum here on this Monday night. So, so shout-outs to our super fans, Dee Woodson, Kevin Woodson, Matt Ward, Jason Hicksonbaum, and of course, shout-outs to our friends from our high school days, Al Britterson, Jimmy Olden, Rob Parsons, Eric Carrier, Tom Souza, and an original member of our Brotherhood, and we hopefully we can get him on the show sometime. So, and of course, shout-out to the Grand Poobah himself, Mr. Derek Ferreira. Of course, couldn't be joining us because he is the social media ambassador for tonight's Monday Night Football game. So, we'll definitely have him back. Of course, have him back for the next edition of the Wrestling Forum next Monday night, with this being the go home before Hell in a Cell. So, so that's pretty much going to do it for me. I'm going to save my shout-outs for when we do Strictly Sports NFL Saturday. So, until Friday night for an all-new edition of Strictly Sports College Football Friday. Of course, where we will preview the upcoming college football games and another big time shakeup in the power rankings. If I'm going to be quite honest here, and yeah, so we'll have to wait and see how those rankings go. So until then, this is the Phenom and the Vice President of the Rhode Island chapter of the Yes Movement, Mike Bullock, saying thank you all very much for listening to us tonight. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Grow with a Fortune 4 style. Have a great rest of the week, everybody. Until Friday night, bye for now, my friends. With that being said, Fletcher, your shout out.
Of course, I want to say thank you to all the great fans out there for you guys, the Wrestling Forum. You guys are the best fans in the world. You guys already know that. I do want to say a special thank you to Megan Silva, to Kenny Freeman, to Bill McConnell. Yesterday we were down in Providence doing the Gloria Gemma 5K run. Guys, they raised over $237,000 for Gloria Gemma. Of course, that's also a part of the Susan G. Komen company that WWE does here in Rhode Island. It's Gloria Gemma, and it was a raving success. We had over, I think they said over 5,000 runners or 5,000 people who participated. You know, that could have been for either the kids race or the ping pong palooza. And yes, just to give you a little tidbit, they had guys and gals doing a 50-yard dash, and listen to this, fellas, they were wearing him high heel shoes. That's right, they were about stiletto high. So you guys rocked it. You guys were awesome as always. And then of course the big race at the end. Definitely a thrilling moment. And then and then I was entertained by some very great dancing later on in the evening. So that's why you didn't see me all day yesterday. I was pretty much gone. I went from Providence all the way to Bristol, Rhode Island. I was all over the state. But you know what? The one thing that I was always come up with was the love for the Wrestling Forum. Guys, we've made it. We're making it big time. We were even getting, I was getting spotted, in certain areas down in Providence, and it was thrilling. So for all those great people out there, you guys know who you are. I love you guys. Thank you so much. It was an honor to hang out with you guys all day yesterday. You guys rock on. Now, of course, the great fan, of course, our super fans, Matt Ward, D.D. Woodson, Kevin Woodson, Jason Hitchabog, Kaiser Butler, Derek Ferreira. Mad props to you guys, to my friends in the junior high and high school days, to my 2184 crew. I love you guys. You guys already know that. All right. Friday night, normally I would have had one thing, because we were talking, there was one thing that kind of got me a little upset over the week. And no, it wasn't about Jameis Winston. I'm not going to get into that because that's none of my business. But I actually just saw the latest poll, and something really irked me and got me really fired up. So watch out, boys. Friday night, I am coming after a few people. I'm coming after ESPN. I'm coming after USA Today. That's right, boys. You might want to batten down the hatch, and you might want to jump in a rabbit hole, because the Cerebral Viper is going to be coming out Friday night. It's rant time, and I am pissed, to say the very least. Watch out. It's going to get bowling shoe ugly. I just fired the warning shot. You better be prepared. Florio, it's yours.
Yeah, you're gonna have to tell me what that is, but so I guess we can pencil you in for Friday night. Is that right, Fletch? I guess we can pencil you in for that. So,
I'm in.
All right, and I'm sure Michael Bullock will be here as well. So, oh yeah, and so it looks like for all intents and purposes here, we're gonna have the band back together on Friday night. Sounds good to me. So, and of course, I mean, we'll get into that in just a little bit. But anyways, of course, we want to say thank you all so very much for tuning in tonight to the Wrestling Forum as always. Of course, a very positive Raw review. First time in a while we've had one of those. All those breaking news stories I just shared as well. So yeah, let's get into the shout outs here. Of course, special shout outs to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to make the Wrestling Forum, along with Strictly Sports, whether it's College Football Friday or NFL Saturday. As ridiculously over as they are, we appreciate it as always. Of course, our super fans, Dee Dee Woodson, Kevin Woodson, and the entire Woodson family. Of course, Matt Ward, Jason Hixenbaugh, Daniel Luttrell from the UK, our Imperial Grand Poobah, our hardcore pipe bomb, Derek Ferreira. Third week in a row, not with us, but as you know, Derek Ferreira will be back with us not only next Monday night for the forum, but the following Monday as well. Because he's only on for go home shows and the night after. So next time it'll be just us running the show. Will be in a few weeks. It'll be on November the 3rd. So make a note of that. So of course, let's see. Along with Derek Ferreira, we there's something else I wanted to get into really quick, but while I think about that, of course, like I said, Daniel Luttrell from the UK, our other super fans. Now I know what I wanted to do. I'm surprised you guys didn't mention this. Of course you brought up Tommy Souza, yes, but Tommy Souza just celebrated a birthday this past weekend, gentlemen. It was Tommy Souza's birthday this past weekend.
Happy birthday, Tom Souza!
Yep, Tommy Souza had a birthday. I wished him a happy birthday on the Facebook. For those of you who don't know, Tommy Souza was the original one of the original members of our brotherhood. Had a lot of great memories with him, a lot of fun with him during our school days back in the day. And Tommy Souza had a birthday the other day, so I believe it was this past Sunday, I believe. So we definitely want to, well, I already did, but on behalf of all of us here at the Wrestling Forum, a very happy birthday to our good buddy Tommy Souza, and we really hope someday, Tom, you can, if you're listening, we really hope to get you on here. I mean, we're dying to have you on here, here on the Wrestling Forum, and also on Strictly Sports as well. I mean, we would love to have you, man. We really would. I mean, and if the day ever comes where we get him on the show and we're all here, then the band will truly be back together. That's all there is to say about that. So, oh boy, if that ever happens, look out. So that's all I can say about that. So very special happy birthday to Tommy Souza out there. And of course, special shout outs to the rest of our crew. Eric Carrier, Jimmy Alden, Al Bradiston, Rob Parsons, they know who they are. And of course, I'll save the rest of my shout outs for Saturday nights. So, all right, future content coming up. Of course, Friday night, Strictly Sports College Football Friday, another huge show, another shake-up-ridden power rankings, another big week of top 25 matchups. I mean, a lot of great ones. And also on this show Friday night, we are going to be previewing the game of the year. Notre Dame, Florida State. That's the silver tuna for me, baby. I am looking forward to that one. That's the game that's the game that I'm going to have the most vested interest in. So you don't want to miss that. I'll be here. Fletch has already announced he will be here. Michael Bullock will be here. And hopefully Derek Ferreira will be here as well. I mean, from what I know, he should be. So it's only fitting on a show like that we have the whole band in the house for that one. We got to have the whole band for this one. Game of the year, Notre Dame and Florida State, come on. We got to have the whole band on this one. Definitely. I'm hoping for it. And then, of course, Saturday night, Strictly Sports NFL Saturday. Hopefully, we'll have some form of a show one way or another. I mean, we didn't have a show on Saturday night. Like Derek says, we all have lives outside of YouTube. Michael Fletcher had work commitments. Michael Bullock had a very long day. He was too exhausted to do the show. He needed to take a breather, so I'm fine with that, not a problem. And, Derek had plans of his own, so Derek did one of his emergency podcasts on the SoundCloud. You can check that out on the Strictly Sports Twitter. I also did a solo video of my own. You can check that out on the Strictly Sports Twitter or on my YouTube, Zone25. So of course, Friday night, College Football Friday, and Saturday night, NFL Saturday, and then next Monday, the Wrestling Forum go-home show for Hell in a Cell. Derek Ferreira will be back at the controls, so looking forward to that. All right, so that's going to do it for us. So until Friday night for Strictly Sports College Football Friday, this is Ridiculously Over Anthony Florio for the Phenom Michael Bullock and the Cerebral Viper Michael Fletcher, and in spirit, the Hardcore Pipe on Derek Ferreira. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Have a great rest of the week, everybody. And until Friday night for Strictly Sports College Football Friday, you've been watching the Wrestling Forum right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube.com. Bye for now, my friends. God bless, and be good to each other.